I saw you showing off with your car.
I'm not showing off.
No,
I'm proving a point.
Welcome to a new season of Drive with Tsotsi, a show in which I look for special cars you never thought existed in Zimbabwe.
This is the Japanese version of the Rolls Royce actually.
I will also spend time with car restorers as they turn scrap into gold.
So between the two bikes, which one would you prefer?
If you have two girlfriends, what would you choose?
The show is Drive with Tsotsi, and on today's episode we have a Datsun 140Y. This car is closer to 44 years old. I'm a 2K, but this car has been restored by none other than Terry Adford. But on today's episode we have a guy and busy when it comes to cars. He knows his stuff. He's the one who's going to tell us a lot about what they've done on this car. So join me on today's episode.
In this episode, I almost died of a heart attack.
Right now, I'm joined by Busy. And so Busy, I tried to tell Motkari, what have they done? Because for me, this does not look like an ordinary Datsun 140Y. So tell us, what have you done on this car?
This Datsun, we did a lot.
And
write a contract of stuff that I did. We did a lot. So this thing came as scrap.
Alright?
Yeah, as a scrap car. It was green, the paint was gone. So we did everything. So we stripped it right down to the body only. And then redid the paint, everything. And not did a lot.
Firstly, there's this outstanding 80.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about 80 before we get into details. What's the one motor? Why 80?
The 80 now. This car was bought in 1980.
Alright.
This car. So the owner just chose the 80 because it was bought in.
So if it means if it was bought in 1980, it's 2024, it's closer to how many years? 44. Okay. Okay.
Plus the 80 you can read it this way or that way.
Whichever way you can feel.
Yeah.
Now, I'm specific. I know you have turned it into a race car.
Yeah. Huh? To a rally car.
What's the difference between a race car and a rally car?
Because the rally car does not have much like
what's the race car.
Yeah, like the race car.
The rally car
in terms of the engine, yeah, rally power is just to go. But with the racing car now, you have to be specific. The engine should be bigger. The tires, you have to be 100.
We also managed to witness the restoration process, and this was the artistic impression of the car's body paint work.
It's only going to be red there, and then the bottom silver is going to be black. Stone chip, and a little bit of stone chip up the back here, but also white.
So tell us the modification about what you did on the front here.
So you see on the front here, we got all these are headlamps. Headlamps. So we got the park in the headlamp. We got the indicator, deep and bright in each one of each.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was just a standard grill. It was closed here. We didn't have that. So for extra lighting, especially in the bushes and stuff, you need extra light. So we had to cut here, spend some hours and days You see, that's why we can't charge now. We spent some days cutting these so that the lights can fit. We had to make some brackets at the bottom here so that the light can be secured properly. Yeah. And then we had to put that's an ordinary wire gauze here. But if you look at it, it looks expensive.
No wonder why you didn't want to put a price on this one.
You had to put the boo back. It wasn't there. And then a number plate on the side so that it just looks nice.
Nice. Wangu, this engine looks clean. So tell us a little bit about the engine.
Right, per engine, nigga. We didn't do a lot, but we did a lot.
Okay.
Right.
Because it looks fancy.
Looks like a new engine, huh? Right. So we had to strip it down, clean it, and paint it mainly. That was the main thing.
Okay. So you repainted?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then cleaned it.
It looks new.
And then reseal. There were some leaks here and there and here and there. And then we had to change the radiator. You can see this is custom made radiator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's aluminium radiator.
All right.
For faster cooling. And then we got the air filter. That's a racing type again.
Okay.
The cone one, to allow more air to get into the engine.
All right.
So there's nothing much that we did when we didn't, and then we changed that one again for the brakes. That's the master cylinder for the brakes. You had to respray inside here so that it was green. Don't forget. Okay. It was old rotten green.
From what you just did, just restoring this engine. If you had to put a price or put a figure on what you just did, how much can you say?
I can't actually put a figure on that.
No, estimate from your head.
From my head, charging everything that I did on that.
Yeah. Taura, I just put a figure.
A figure, baba. Hey. It's tricky because we had to do a lot again. It was like this thing. We had to make from pipes and from scratch.
Okay.
To make this pipe.
So you recreated all this?
All that. So sometimes now to put a figure of what you did.
People who bring these cars to restoration, usually they don't calculate cost. They want the car to be restored to the best standard without worrying about how much it's gonna cost them.
I believe you are the best in the industry.
So
an ordinary Zimbabwean wants to put security system on their car. How much could it cost them?
So it's basically about $13 a month, but I'll tell you what's more interesting. We've got a package where you pay $25. $25 a month for a term. Same time, I'm not saying insurance. For $25, you get vehicle towing, 3 tows local in Harare. Get a complimentary vehicle for 24 hours.
You guys,
And you also
why
get
am I hearing this for the first time?
One more thing. You also get complimentary tracking. So basically, if tracking is $13 a month, you're getting all these things that I just mentioned for $25 a month only.
That's a good deal, man. ndanguuya mudhara takabata background kuti ungondipa master key nemotikari yese ndichienda.
Iyi mota iyi inonetsa because munhu anenge achitisa zvinhu izvi anenge ane mari, anenge achida munhu chinhu chake etatu.
So they would not resell it.
They would not resell it simply. Yeah.
Like we said, it's mainly for rallies.
For rallies and we've made it even to use every day because it's licensed. Okay. You can use it on the road. But with all this stuff that is in there, it's difficult to put a figure.
From being an old shell, the interior has also been restored into detail.
Tell us the job that you've done inside.
Right, inside we changed the ceiling. We did the roof lining black as it was cream. just because it will be on the rally, you know, the mud and stuff.
Okay.
Plus that's easy to clean. We did the visors as well. You can see black, and then the sides black again, and then the back, you see it's black, and then a little bit of blue so that it doesn't look strange and scary.
Okay. And the car seats.
The
race seats.
Yeah, we had to put the racing seats so that it, you know, for the rally it has to be like a racing car sort of, but it's not 100 a racing car. So we had to put bucket seats on for safety. Even with the, you can see we also use those seat belts again for the racing type.
Okay.
Yeah, so that you'll be safe again in that safari car. Right, and then on the dash, we didn't do anything much. It's original like this, but if you look at it, you might think it's not original.
Okay.
Because they had to put some gauges and some fancy stuff
on the dash.
On the dashboard. Yeah.
Now, what's with this handbrake? What's the difference between this handbrake and an ordinary handbrake in a car?
Okay, so this one is a hydraulic handbrake. It's mainly used for drifting. You know, when you're driving on the corners, and then you just pull it a little bit, and then the car goes sideways. You know the story. Because if you have that other type, the ratchet that you pull the button in, and sometimes you might not be able to put it down. You know, you'll be like stuck, and then you are driving at the same time. You see, so that's a racing. It's an expensive handbrake.
Okay.
Looks simple, but it's not cheap. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now on the key, explain to me what's the difference between having a normal key and having a race key.
Right. So on these cars, you know, the racing cars, they should have like a starter board like this one.
Okay.
So that all the switches and all the circuits are separated, so that you won't have one wire that is powering the whole car. Yeah.
All right.
So we have that one installed here, so that whenever like for example, this is the master key.
Okay.
So this is the key that gives the power to this board.
Okay.
And then once this board gets power, we can now choose what we
want to switch on. If I want lights on, I'll just put
the
the
lights on.
Lights on.
If I want the accessories on, you can put them manually on. You see now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks fancy.
Yeah.
So the reason being, when the brake shot, it should not affect anything else. Should only be the brakes.
It should only be the brakes. Yeah.
Then you switch it off. You know, I no longer have brakes.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't need the lights to be on when you put the key on. Like for example, you don't need the accessories to be on.
Okay.
When you start the car, so you can just manually switch them off.
And you changed the steering as well.
Yeah. Changed it to a small, nice, fancy racing steering.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the gear.
The gearbox is still standard. We didn't do anything on it, but we just changed the knob and the.
So how fast can it go?
This thing can go up to that 160.
Okay.
160, 180.
And the power?
And the power is still good. It's original on the engine. There's nothing much done onto it. It's just a restoration, but in like
in a modern, fancy way.
Fancy way.
Yeah. I noticed that you put cameras on this.
Yeah. So we got this. That's a modern rear view mirror. It's simple. It just stuck on the original one. So you just put it there, and then we installed the camera. So it has a camera already on the back here.
Okay.
And one for the back.
All right.
So that when you put your car in reverse, you can also see what's going on and record it.
So like you've modernized it.
Yeah.
It now has cameras that you can still check what's on the back. Without even looking at your mirror.
And even recording for evidence. Because you can also record the back and the front. Who is following you
and who's right in front of you.
Who's right in front of you.
Wow. So I would want to see this car in action. Do you think you can drift in it?
Yeah, we can.
Should we go on the tracks?
Yeah, we can.
Now.
We can go.
Now, let's go and see how powerful this engine is. Let's go and see how powerful it is.
The man behind the wheel on this test drive is Terry Atwell. He has been racing and restoring cars since he was a teenager.
I was super excited to go for a test drive. Little did I know what I was getting myself into. Without any warning, the car was at high speed.
Wow, this guy's powerful. What? Wow! 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 My adrenaline, my heart is like, you wanna kill me?
At AutoSolve, we take pride in providing top-notch vehicle servicing to keep your car running smoothly. We do suspension checks and repairs, wheel alignment and balancing, general vehicle service, and advanced vehicle diagnosis. All our branches are conveniently located away from congestion hitches and parking worries. Visit us at number 64, Lorraine Drive, Bluff Hill, Harare, and number 41, Belvedere Road, Harare. AutoSolve, bring it, and we will solve it.
Hungry for some irresistibly tasty Mexican? Well, look no further. Leo Villa's got you. We have a delectable variety on our menu to wow your taste buds. We have nachos, burritos, tacos, and so much more spicy delights. Delivery service is available for 75 cents per kilometer from the restaurant, and you can visit us at number 17 Phillips Avenue, Belgravia.
One bucket, please, to clean the mess on the seat.
Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. Wow. Don't try this at home.
So, let me ask you, how did you like your ride?
Well, for me, number one, I'll never get in a car you drive on a tail. You should have warned me that you're about to drive, you're about to drift.
Why did you open the door to start getting out?
This is my first time in a car that was drifting. I've never felt my heart leaving my body like that. Why did you do that?
But it's only on the gravel. It's not proper drifting on the tar.
So you could have done better than that.
Yes, and I would have done better if I didn't have all these cars parked out here. That's my playground, and they were all parked in my playground.
Advise me, I would never get in a car driven by this man. I almost felt my heart jumping out of my body.
Yeah.
But you're a good driver. I'm still alive, but don't try that at home.
Yeah.
The show is drive with so but I want
he
you
he started very talkative, and then everything went quiet. And I had to look to see if he was still there. Yeah.
Thank you so. Well, can you teach me to drift?
Yes, no problem. It's easy.
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 So
on a rear wheel drive. On a rear wheel drive, it's very, very easy to drift.
So if you see me drifting, this is like a good coach. So thank you so much for your time.
And you got to have the toys like the handbrake.
Yeah.
The handbrake is a hydraulic handbrake.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pull that the handbrake up, that locks the back wheels. So that's already putting you into your slide. Then you drop the handbrake, full lock, hit the accelerator, and then you can just carry on spinning.
And you say there's no modifications on the engine. This is like an original
like it drove out of the
Datsun
showroom.
140Y engine.
exactly nothing, no change on the carb, no jetting, no nothing. This is how they came out. Then they now did the modifications on them, put the twin drive carburetors on, banana bunches, cams, then this becomes fire.
This man with cars and speed, man, I'm learning in every week. I'm learning something new from Terry Atwood. Thank you so much, my guy. Thank you so much.
Good.
Looking forward to be drifting my own car,
Yeah.
like with a passenger, him being my passenger as well. Would you trust me with my driving?
I will do, but you must invest in an old car.
I have to invest in an old car. My well wishers, please bring me that old car that you feel like you don't like, and I will restore it into a powerful car like a Datsun 140Y. The show is Drive with Sotsi.
Wow, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that part at the end, the drifting and the burnouts. Was that pre-planned or?
It wasn't planned. He never told me he was going to drift. For me, had he told me that he was going to drift, I was not going to get in that car. But the old man just felt the need of drifting.
Do you know why the reason I'm asking? Yeah. Because I didn't know if you were having the time of your life or you were actually fighting for your life.
I was actually fighting for my life. I made sure I was holding onto that red seat belt with my whole life.
But that looked fun though. It looked fun.
There are things that I will never do willingly. Drifting, bungee jumping, whitewater rafting. Why?
No, that's for the adrenaline purpose, man.
I like being safe. I'm still young to die. I would not want to die.
So you didn't be interested.
What scared me most? It didn't take time to start drifting. I just sat in the car. Less than few seconds, the car is drifting.
It was already doing.
What's really happening here?
Wow, that was amazing. So would you be interested in learning how to drift, or is something that you wouldn't be interested in?
The reason why I would not want to learn how to drift is because one or the other I would be tempted to want to drift.
Like all the time.
Because I can't learn then not do it. There are times whereby you end up a cave, then I just
like
I know like I can do it.
Try.
So no.
So for those at home that want to learn how to drift, it's not complicated, right? First thing, you need to get a manual transmission car and make sure that it has an adequate amount of power. So what you do is you step on the clutch, put it in one, and then the throttle, you rev, you let go of the clutch, like you jump it, and then foot on the brake, and then you keep on feathering the accelerator. Okay. So, and then now the car is spinning. So when the car is about to get traction back, you just dump on the clutch and leave it, so that it keeps losing the traction.
You're explaining it as if it's just as easy as cutting butter with a hot knife.
But anyway, that's fine. But the car was really nice though. The work they put in. For a car that was found in that state of being a rust bucket to a car that is now on the road, it's a rally car, you can also double it as a daily driver, and it looks pristine.
One thing that I really want to recommend is how they take time to make sure that they bring it to its best performance.
Wow.
You can't tell that's an old car like that.
Speaking of these old cars being brought back, so Ford has decided to bring back the Ford Capri.
Okay.
But there's a twist to it. So a lot of people are not really happy because of what Ford has done. So they've just taken the Ford Capri name and they put it on like a newer car that doesn't have anything in resemblance to the old Capri. So the old Capri was made from 1968 all the way to 1986, and we had the Mark 1, the Mark 2, and then the Mark 3 of this car. So basically it's a fastback coupe that was made to be like a European version of the Ford Mustang, right? So it looks like a smaller Mustang and stuff like that. But with this new Capri, it's a mid-size SUV that is all electric.
So okay, why couldn't they just make a new car, give it a new name, and leave the
marketing? I think it all boils down to marketing. You know, when you're using a name that is tried and tested, people are familiar when they hear the name Capri, they know it's a Ford. So it would be easier to just stamp the name on a new car.
But remember what we just said earlier on, it's about the sentimental
exactly
that issue that people fell in love with on the older Ford. Why kill it by just making an electric car and name it that name?
Exactly, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, if I was an owner of a Ford Capri back in the day, and then you release a new one that doesn't have anything to do with the older version of the Capri that I loved, why would I get the new one?
Yeah,
because it's very different. But you know, you never know with these automakers. It's not a bad car. So we have two models. We have the base model. It's a rear-wheel drive, so it has an electric motor at the back. Produces about 280 horsepower to do 0 to 100 in about 6.5 seconds. The range is about 600 kilometers, and then it takes about 30 minutes to a full charge. So you know, it's basically
so this is just me asking you.
Car.
you being the expert on these cars,
Yeah.
what do you think about Ford? Is it a nay or is it a go or no go?
The new Capri.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's a bit of a hit and miss, right? Because it's even the car itself, it's on a Volkswagen platform. They just took a Volkswagen platform and then they just put in the Ford stylings and stuff like that. So basically, I think it's a hit and a miss. Because
So-
as a car, basically, it's not a bad car. But the name now, Capri.
So
Yeah,
in other
that's
words,
what-
you're saying we agree with they
As
should
for
just kept
myself,
the name.
no, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't buy the.
So they should have just left the name Capri.
They should have just let the name Capri like that. Put on a new badge on that car.
You
That's
never
what they
know
should have
with our generation. We're a generation of people who really don't put too much attention to the history.
The details and the
we want
history
something that's so fast
and stuff like that.
Probably they will receive this more electric car than the old Capri. You
Yeah,
know?
I think we just have to see with the test drives, because this car has not really been out on the street. They've just made the renders and released, like the prototypes. They're out there, so we have to see first when people take them for test drives what other people think. But for me, I know it's a mess.
As for me, it's a miss as well. I love my things. I love vintage. I love classy things. I found Amazon classy and vintage there. For them, they don't.
Yeah, they don't really.
Oh, fast and bars and noise. Classy, I want to feel it. So for me, no. It's a no-no.
Yeah, I understand. Anyway, do you have anything else to say? Because we're out of time.
Well, what I'll only say is good. I'll never get in a car that's about to drift. Don't try this at home. Don't teach me drifting. Me and drifting, no friends. Terry, I'm coming for your life.
Anyway, the show is Drive with Toti. See you next week.
See you next week.